whisper it and touch all the wood that you've got. They're not even the big six anymore. That's the thing, Stats.
I know.
Been sitting on that joke for hours. Like
Coming
a
over
dog
here.
using a knife and fork.
A Leeds lad doing all those fancy tricks. Who do you think you are?
We're back with another video. Hello, this is the Roaring Peacock YouTube channel. We're Leeds fans. If you're a Leeds fan, why not hit subscribe and the like button and all that, and you know, tell everybody about it and everything. And if you're interested, this is the match review of us beating Heckingbottom 2-1. Let's go. The following podcast contains some strong language and some very average opinions. Any references to actual people are wildly inaccurate. It's probably best if you don't listen at all. The Roaring Peacock Podcast. Welcome back to the Roaring Peacock Podcast. This is the match review of Marcelo Bielsa 2, Paul Heckingbottom. His name is Paul, isn't it? I've tried to forget everything about him. Paul Heckingbottom 1. There we go. So my name's Adonis, and you know me as that at the Adelites on Twitter. It's a very good hello from me. Joining us to discuss the game is Barney at Barney___21.
Now then, mate, you all right?
Very good, thank you, my man. I hope you're well with all your underscores there.
I am.
I'm trying to get on top of your underscores. And it's the stat man. Ba-da-ba-da-bee-ba-ba-ba-da-boop. At LUFC Stats, Andrew Dalton.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on for looking back at a Yorkshire Derby victory at Allen Road.
Yes, indeed, it was a victory. Could have been less clinchy. What? How do you say it? What's that word?
I think it could have been easier, shall we say, rather than sort of a bit tricky towards the back end of the game.
Clench. That's it. Could have been less clenchy.
Yes.
That victory. From about the 45th minute, or I think there was 5 minutes extra stoppage time in that first half. So whenever they scored anyway, I was clenching for the rest of it. Okay, so first thoughts then. Should we start off with you, Stats? You look like you're rocking and raring to go.
I am. Do you know what? I think a lot of us are probably too overconfident that we thought we'd win 4-5-6-0. You're coming against a Sheffield United side that have literally got nothing to lose. They know they're going down. Obviously, Chris Wilder had got the boo. Paul Heckingbottom, the former Leeds head coach, had taken over. You thought after Harrison had scored early on in the first half, it might be a bit of an avalanche, but I just saw it was one of those games that, it could have gone away from Leeds at 1-1, but they just about, for me, did enough to win the game. They could have actually had more goals. I know Harrison missed a couple, and Dallas missed one in the second half. But the one big incident for me, and I know it's been referred to on social media, is how George Baldock didn't at least see a yellow card for that challenge, because it was, to me, an absolute disgrace, and how VAR have seen it and just carried on with it, I don't think I'll ever know.
Yeah, he was a real handful for them, wasn't he? Been sitting on that joke for hours. All right, Barney, first thoughts.
It was just one of those games where it just got a little bit scrappy in areas. We played some really good football, but we were very patchy, and the final third wasn't great either. I thought Rafinha was good in parts, but went missing in parts as well. And I think that's one of the reasons why Bamford came off, because he wasn't getting anything yesterday at all. He wasn't getting anything in that game.
Yeah, I really felt for Paddy, because he was always looking to try and make something happen. He was dropping back. He was collecting the ball and playing it on and trying to get the team moving. And I thought he was actually very unlucky to be pulled off. But I mean, Marcel had said that it had something to do with him not being fully fit yet. So there's always that it could be. Okay, so funny moment then, and I guess you've touched on it already, Stats. So we'll get Barney's impression of this. The studs up challenge by Baldock that somehow ended up with him concussed. But an incredible mid-air pirouette from Roberts. It was sort of like the Fotherby flop, wasn't it? Landed on his neck. Could have looked very dangerous, and not even a yellow card, apparently.
Yeah, it looked really dangerous to me because it was actually 2-footed and he was off the floor as well, Baldock. When he went in, Roberts knew he was going to get clattered, so he managed to nick the ball away. But as soon as he got clattered, Baldock hit his head onto the grass. So the grass actually helps us this time round for the first time round. But when Roberts went over, he actually went over onto his neck as well.
Yeah.
It looked quite nasty. But all Roberts did was just like sort his socks out and stand back up again.
Yeah.
So he was lucky, but it could have been really, really nasty for both players, to be honest. And the fact that the ref did not do anything about it, it's a little bit worrying because stuff like that. And Alan Shearer was right in the commentary after. He said that because obviously he's doing a lot of work with concussion, and they should have used a concussion rule there because Baldock, he didn't look right at all when he came back on again, and literally 10 minutes later, he went back off again. And these are players' lives we're dealing with as well. So if he carried on playing, he could have easily hurt himself as well.
I remember in one of the games in the international break, there was a player who had some headwear on, protective gear, and his teammates are calling him Sparke. Shouldn't really laugh about that, but it is funny. Do you think something like that could be brought in for all the players? I mean, I know that's an extreme measure, but we've got shin pads. I mean, I know they're the size of a postage stamp for most of the players, but I would have thought your head is a bit more important than your shin.
Yeah.
Especially as your shin is a regenerative bone. Your brain isn't going to grow back, is it?
No. And I know, obviously, in rugby league, a lot of players wear head guards to protect themselves. But yeah, it was just a very strange incident. And I do wonder if Tyler's reaction probably helped Baldock not get a card, because I'm still unsure where the concussion has come from. Really, I don't know if it's the way Tyler's fallen into him or what. And if he has got concussion, why is he not gone off straight away? Why is he being allowed to come back onto the pitch?
Yeah.
After then he got subbed off 5 minutes later. Surely there's got to be these protocols in place where if he needs a head test, he's off the pitch straight away, and that's his afternoon done.
Yeah, and when you look at finding Jack Charlton, which I presume that a lot of listeners and you both have seen as well, then it's not really, when you talk about protective headgear, you think, oh, that looks stupid. I don't want to look a fool kind of thing. Oh, I'm a hard guy. Yeah. Jack Charlton was one of the hardest people that you'll ever meet or that could ever exist. And it's just tragic what happened to him. But here we are again with VAR. Why have they not looked at it? Do we have any answers?
I think for me, just going back to stats, what happened with his head? What happened was his actually head. When he went into Roberts, his head went back onto the grass.
Okay. Yeah,
like got sort of like whiplash.
But he pointed at his forehead, didn't he? And then afterwards, Heckingbottom said that he'd been kneed.
But if you look at the slow motion, there's no contact from Tyler's knee at all. I think how he went over as well, he was trying to avoid to do that anyway. But I think going back to your point, why it was carried on and VAR didn't do anything about it, because I think the ref didn't see anything anyway, and we were in a position where it wasn't any sort of advantage, because when it's in midfield, VAR doesn't really seem to do a lot. It's always when it's in the penalty area, which isn't right, really. I just think that could have been a lot more nasty than what happened, and the fact that we had tools there to prevent it not happening, or Baldock getting a card. The concussion, they're going back to the concussion rule. Something should have been done there as well. I think the ref and the players are lucky. I mean, we haven't heard anything more about what's happened to Baldock, though, have we?
No. Stats. Do you know why VAR didn't look at it?
Well, I asked on Twitter that Joe Bedford, who's absolutely brilliant with all the refereeing stuff, they said that Jared Gillette did look at it and it was just no error. So, just a very strange one, I think.
No. And he's probably the best we've got, to be fair.
Yeah, he's a brilliant ref as well. And I think just error. I think I can't understand how it's not even a yellow card. And just so on the VAR thing, I know it wasn't from the Leeds game, but West Brom scored the 5th goal at Chelsea yesterday. I think it was Robinson that scored it. He's pointing where he wants the ball. He's done exactly the same thing that Patrick Bamford did against Crystal Palace back in November. Goal disallowed. This one's allowed to stand. Look, I know the game ended 5-2 and it wouldn't have mattered, but VAR needs to have some consistency.
Where were the lines?
Yeah, exactly. And this is what's driving supporters crazy.
Yeah.
There is no consistency in the way VAR is being used at the moment. And that incident on Baldock is very bizarre and very odd. But
there was I had such conflicting feelings watching that West Brom Chelsea game.
Chelsea, yeah.
Like, I mean, I love to see Chelsea get thumped. Love it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. But watching Sam Allardyce fist pump in celebration of those goals, he especially loved that long ball one.
He did.
It was just something. I felt so guilty, like celebrating that goal. It's just like, no, I'm celebrating with Big Sam. This is wrong.
They won't stay up. They shouldn't stay up. They've still got a long, long way to go. I know a lot depends on Newcastle and Fulham. Newcastle have got Tottenham this weekend. Fulham have got Villa. So, yeah, the main thing is we're way, 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 way away from that. And we can just enjoy the next 8 games till we play West Brom last day of the season.
Okay, so we scored. That was good. I liked it. Rafinha got the ball, cut inside. It actually started a little bit before that, I think. Did Dallas win it back?
Yeah.
Dallas won it back. He played it to Roberts. Roberts played in Rafinha. Rafinha did what Rafinha does, put it on a plate for Harrison. And then he sort of slow-moed and had this like no reaction look at the camera that you see some of these freestylers do.
Yeah.
Okay. That was good. Liked that. Then afterwards, wasn't so impressive. How was the rest of that first half, Barney?
It was just, like I said before, it was very scrappy. There was patches in the first half where we were playing some really good football.
Yeah.
And in the final third, it just seemed to break up again.
Yeah.
And I think that Sheffield United started to sort of match us a little bit in midfield in areas. It was just very frustrating because when that goal went in, I thought Sheffield United were going to capitulate straight away because I've noticed that with them when they concede first, that's it. The heads go down, and I thought, right, this is it. We're going to score a few here, but I don't know. We just seemed to lack a few ideas, or where we were wanting to pass, we were caught in two minds where we wanted to pass, and then that's when the move broke down. And there was certain players in the first half who were just getting really frustrated. I mean, Alioski again was really frustrating with his decision making.
Yeah. It felt like it was difficult to get the flow.
Yeah,
like they'd had a bit of a holiday. Not, of course, they didn't really have a holiday. Let's face it, I'd be in a coma if I tried to do one of these Bielsa training sessions.
Yeah, I think I would be.
Especially after not keeping fit all the way through lockdown. Phillips was somebody who caught my eye early. Snuck in really well. He looked really sharp and on it, coming back from international duty and playing more minutes than any other England player. Thank you, Stats, for those kind of tidbits that make me look a lot better. Snuck in. Keeper was out of position, and he's put in a lovely shot. And we would have celebrated that goal, wouldn't we? Seems like the playing 8 for England, essentially, has gone to his head a bit, because then he had a shot after a corner, and it's gone not very close to the goal. Stats, how did you find Phillips?
I think he's played a lot of football, hasn't he, in the last week or so, obviously with the England games. I know Look, we played against San Marino and Albania. You can probably put us three in against San Marino and Albania, and I think we'll still probably win the games. But look, he's had a great season for McCalvin. He should, touch wood, go to the Euros in the summer. I thought he had a fine game yesterday. He does what is asked of him. He does it without any real issues. I think when you play the team at the bottom of the league that have got very little to play for, sometimes you do drop to their level a little bit. And I don't know if it was just a little bit of that took the lead. Everyone in and around the ground expected us was going to be 4, 5 or 6.
Yeah.
It wasn't the case. Sheffield United came back into the game. Obviously, they equalised. But yeah, as for Calvin, yeah, another 8 out of 10 for me. I don't think it was the best player on the pitch. We'll come to that a bit later. But yeah, solid, if not unspectacular, and did what was asked of him. And it'll be a very interesting game against Manchester City next week when he comes up against possibly the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, which will be fun to watch.
Within the first 10 minutes, he was on it straight away. He was like a little terrier at everyone's feet all the time. And his fitness levels seems to have improved a hell of a lot as well. And his pace as well seems to have improved. And in the game against Sheffield United, he was everywhere on the pitch. Everywhere. I mean, there was one place where he was actually on the wing at once, and I was like, "What's he doing? What's he doing?" He was just, I was like, "You're going to get a bit dizzy there," but he looked like he wanted to score yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So yeah, just speaking about what you were talking about, stats, going down to their level.
Yeah.
I did feel like we got drawn into that a little bit, bit to like mirroring their energy levels. And don't get me wrong, I thought it was a good performance in general, especially coming off the back of an international break. Probably a pumped up Sheffield United. Like you said, they've got nothing to lose, and Heckingbottom would have really wanted to. This would have been the game that he would have looked at and thought, okay, we can get something from here, and I want to get something from here. So he would have had them fired up. In the end, we probably should have won by 4 or 5, but it was just that lack of clinical finishing, and a little bit of a lack of creativity and imagination in the final third, I would say.
Yeah.
I actually really wanted to see Pablo come on the second half.
Yeah.
I thought he could have done something. I think he's been a little bit underutilized this season, but you never know what he's like in training and so on. Okay. Commentary then. It was a little bit better.
It was very good. Very good.
MOTD Drury, Ali McCoist. So, Comwatch. This is what we're calling this segment. It doesn't feel right somehow, but Barney?
Yeah, it was just what was good about it. It wasn't trying to, like McCoist, he wasn't trying to be someone that talks about stats and this is where they should be doing this and they should be.
No offense, stats.
Not taken. Not taken.
It was just like, it felt like a fan was watching it. Like, oh, this is really good. Oh, I've noticed they've changed positions there. I've noticed it. And there was one very funny moment where Alioski was on the floor on all fours with the ball.
And the
Sheffield United player was trying to get the ball. And McCoy said, "Oh, this could be a little bit offensive here." I just thought it was brilliant. And then when they started talking about the European Cup as well, when the Rangers played, and was it McAllister scored?
Yeah.
And McCoy said, "I'll let you into a little secret. I should have been marking him then."
Yeah.
So it was just like the banter with each other as well. It was very good, very good. It was enjoyable to listen to for once.
Stats, come watch.
Fantastic. I've got a lot of time for Peter Drury. I grew up listening to Peter on Radio Leeds with Bryn way back in the early 90s. Terrific commentator, comes out with some wonderful lines. Obviously, we're recording this 20 years to the day that we beat Deportivo at Ellen Road, and Peter was a commentator for ITV that day. And he came up with a great line that when Rio Ferdinand scored the third goal, Leeds are on top of the world, they deserve no more, no less. They're looking at Champions League semi-final. And he's just got this ability, Peter, to come up with some brilliant lines at the right time. And yeah, one of my favourite commentators commentators, and Ali McCoist. A lot's been said about Ali, one of the best pundits around. And I do wonder if he's a secret Leeds fan as well.
I think he's got a little soft spot for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of the Scottish guys do. It's just because in the 70s we had so many great Scottish players.
Yes. Yeah.
That Deportivo game is the best time I've ever had at Ellen Road. It was the best performance I've ever seen. That Ferdinand goal, when that went in and he did this, it was it was insane. And I know what happened afterwards with Rio, but that team was something else, really. Yeah. Okay, ref watch then. This is normally where I drop the C-bomb.
Yeah. Apart from the Baldock incident, I don't think he did much wrong, did the referee? That I didn't really notice him on the pitch that much. It's just when he got that decision right, he'd probably got a higher mark than me. But I think because that was the one big incident in the game, when there were really penalty calls or anything like that, I'd probably give the ref a 6 out of 10, which might be a bit generous, but he would have got probably a 7 had he got the Baldock decision right and what have you. And there you go. But yeah, it wasn't really a niggly game or anything like that. It was just that one big incident that he missed, unfortunately.
I don't even know his name, but he looks like, he reminds me of someone he's like a PE teacher, but he does geography part-time as well.
I know the one, yeah.
I believe it was Graham Scott. Am I right there?
Could be, yeah. Sort of Graham Dott's the snooker player, isn't he? So
he is.
That can't be him.
He is indeed.
Barney, ref watch?
Other than the Baldock incident, he didn't really have to do a lot else, was it? I mean, considering it was a Yorkshire derby, it wasn't like a feisty Yorkshire derby one bit. Yeah. So other than that, he let the game flow. There wasn't any sort of silly fouls he was giving. The players were just playing. They were just playing, really. So other than that, it was all right. I mean, some of the dickheads we've had this season, to be honest, I didn't even watch the ref, to be honest, because he just let the game flow.
Yeah. He annoyed me in his absence at times because, do you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing worse than a referee who's trigger happy with his whistle and his cards, and he wants to make it all about him, a la Mike Dean or whatever. But there's the other way as well. There's the opposite of that, and he was a little bit absent at times, like a bit maybe scared to make a decision, or So I just felt like maybe he could have stepped in a little bit more. But I agree that there was not really much to be done about with this game, and I think it would have been completely different if the fans had been there.
Yes.
Okay, magic moment.
You're going to laugh at this. There was an incident in the first half when Leeds United got a throw-in towards the south end of the ground, and I think the camera picks up on Luke Ayling, and I think a Leeds player's wanting the ball, and Ellie, you can just hear him go, "I'm not that strong enough, mate." And I think it just made everybody laugh. And I just picked up on it when it happened. And just one of those little incidents that just probably stands out in the game yesterday for me. It was quite funny. And I think it was picked up by the Amazon cameras.
Speaking of when fans come back, that'll be something that we'll completely miss.
Yes.
Being able to hear the players. Okay, Barney, magic moment.
Magic moment. There was a little play with Dallas and 2 other players. I can't remember, but Dallas managed to sort of do a Cruyff turn past the Sheffield United player, but the Sheffield United player tripped him up, and I just thought that was a bit classy there. What are you trying to do? Who do you think you are?
Like a dog using a knife and fork.
A Leeds lad doing all those fancy tricks. Who do you think you are?
That was a great little passing move before that happened as well. And I felt that was one of those times where I thought, he could give a yellow card for that. I know he's done it for skill, and that's probably why he won't. But not even a talking to, ref. Come on. Okay. Magic moment for me was Rafinha. That was kind of like his one magic moment. He made a lot of passing errors, or maybe that's too harsh. he misplaced quite a few passes, and I've been very critical of Tyler Roberts for doing that in previous games. So I have to criticize Rafinha as well. I saw somebody posted like, that meme where it's like some guy yelling at someone, "Oh, fuck off, you idiot," or whatever. And then it's like, that's when we criticize Alioski when he misplaces a pass, and then it's that angry chef. What's he called? Gordon Ramsay, that's it. Hugging a little kid like, "Oh, you're all right, gorgeous." And that's us when, Rafinha has a bad game, or Phillips or whatever. So, but that's kind of what it felt like. It felt like Raf did what he needed to do. He conjured up that magic at the perfect time, just when we needed it. And what was the second goal? Oh, Jagielka. Yeah, and I felt bad for that. Felt bad for that because I didn't realize until after everything went down with the official Leeds Twitter account.
Yeah.
So yeah, his brothers died.
Yeah, Stephen is only 43. He played in the lower leagues quite a bit. He actually had a spell at Sheffield United. I think he was well known for playing at Shrewsbury, and I think he passed away the other week. And yeah, very, very sad times. And it's also very sad that you may have both seen the Yeovil Town captain, Lee Collins, who was 32 years old, tragically passed away on Wednesday. And it's, wow, just, I saw that on social media and I thought, geez, that's very, very sad and very somber. And do you know what? Fair play to Phil Jagielka.
Do we know what happened?
No,
the Yeovil
nothing.
Town captain?
No, and I'm not one that's going to speculate or anything like that.
32 is so young. It's too young. And he was playing, wasn't he? He was playing up until six 7 months ago.
Season. He was on the bench for Yeovil against Stockport in a game that was actually on BT the other week. Just very tragic, and same with Jagielka. That fair play to him to keep going and keep playing, because to have a death in the family must be, especially at 43 years old, must be horrific. But felt a bit sorry for him. He did score a screamer against Leeds in 2002 in the Wellington Cup, and also now he's gone full circle. And do you know what? He's been a loyal servant to the game. He's Phil Jagielka. Had a tremendous career first time out at Sheffield United, came through the youth system as a kid with his brother, and obviously went off to Everton before returning to Sheffield United. So I
don't think you can feel too bad about it because that was just an incredible ball from Harrison.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
great ball. Yeah,
a bit annoying for me because I'd captained Rafinha in my FPL team this week.
Typical. But yeah, do you know what? Just to sort of finish off on the match, I thought Leeds deserved the win. It was scrappy at times, but they're on 42 points. That's fantastic to get to this stage after 30 games. You've got 8 games to go, and I know we'll do the Man City review later on in the week, but we can go into these next 3 games against City, Liverpool, and that team from the Pennines. Looking forward to the games and hopefully cause them all a few problems.
Okay, and unusually, we're recording this the day after. So I want to talk a little bit about match of the day. And I've got a bit of a bee in my bonnet about this because the positives first. And something we should mention anyway. So they did give special mention to Chris and Kev.
Yeah.
And also Peter Lorimer, so that was good. But then they showed 6 replays of the Baldock challenge, and they never even mentioned that he should have got a card. How many times do you need to see it before you say it? Like, watch it again and talk about concussion. Okay, concussion's a big thing, but it should have been a yellow card at least.
Do you know what, Donny? I haven't watched Match of the Day all season. I know we're back in the Premier League and all that. The thing is, you see all the games, goals 50, 100 times.
Yeah.
I don't watch it. And it's, everyone's got a different ways of looking at it. Should they have mentioned the red card? Yes, they probably should have done. Should have been a possible red card for George Baldock? Yes, it should. But as I said, I've not watched Match of the Day even though we're back in it, because of the way the games are, they're all truncated and they're all the kickoff times, and every game's on TV. For me, and I know everyone's different, there's no reason to watch Match of the Day look, I grew up with Match of the Day and I loved it. And it's something I want to talk about later on down the line in podcasts. The Match of the Day, they're just growing up as a kid, you'd have the 3 main games and you'd have highlights of all the other games. But because all the games are on TV, that's gone by the wayside at the moment. And I remember having a chat with one of the producers of Match of the Day in the summer, and he said they like the old school ideas, but because every game's on TV, it's very difficult to get away with it. And there's so many replays now that things can kind of be done to death in a way.
I think for me is that I watched it again yesterday.
Yeah.
But it must be hard for the editor to edit the game, the 90-minute game, into a space of a 5-10 minute game highlights. But sometimes they don't show the main highlights of the game.
Yeah.
There was one game when we were the last game on the night. I can't remember who it was, but there was we were played really well in that game as well, and we won the game.
Yeah.
But the just all they talked about at the end was the opposition never talked about how Leeds played.
The Chelsea edit was particularly bad as well.
Yeah.
That was the one actually. Yeah, the 0-0 draw.
Yeah.
It was all very much how Chelsea should have scored here. Chelsea should have scored that. There was nothing about how well we played in that game, which was, I think you need to be a little bit. You need to have both hands in the pie, don't you, to understand who played well in that game. So,
well, I managed to get a copy of the Match of the Day magazine, and I've flicked through it right for this month, and it's just Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs, Scum, Liverpool, and Man City, and that's it.
Big six.
I mean. They're not even the big 6 anymore. That's the big stuff.
I know.
Arsenal had 1 place above us.
I know.
Ridiculous.
It's what it is. Yeah. It's what it is.
So that was my gripe. Anyway, so man of the match then.
Oh, 2 for me. And I'm going to go for the Leeds-born Stuart Dallas.
I thought you were going to say the Leeds-born Diego Llorente.
I nearly did. No. Stuart Dallas. 9 out of 10 everywhere. Yeah. Just so versatile. I'm just waiting, Donny, for the day that Meslier gets sent off or gets injured and we've used all 3 subs and Dallas ends up going in goal. He's that kind of player who'll play anywhere for us.
Yep. Almost a Paul Madeley.
Yes.
He was from Leeds as well.
Yes, very much so. It was indeed. The real Leeds.
So much in common.
Yes.
Okay, Barney, man of the match?
Yeah, Dallas again. I just thought it was absolutely fantastic. Again, he's just so consistent the way he plays, and he's sometimes one of the players that keeps driving forward all the time. Gets the ball and just drives and never gives up. Absolutely fantastic. And the way he's playing in midfield at the moment with Phillips is brilliant. And there seems to have what happened yesterday in the game was that Phillips was playing more of an advanced role for a bit. And Dallas dropped back, and they seem to complement each other. So they're playing really well together. I think that it's a good partnership they've got going there.
Okay. We've had 2 votes for Dallas now, and therefore I'm going to have to pick somebody different for mine. So I'm going to say Llorente. He's come under a bit of stick, I think, for the amount of money we paid, for the expectations that we had when he came in. He was injured twice. He was catcalled by in the only game that fans were allowed to go in this season.
Yeah, Chelsea.
Only Leeds game, which again I thought was a little bit of an unfair playing field, but never mind. He's come back. He's played himself into form. He's looking like a quality player. I thought he was one of the best players on the pitch from both teams yesterday. He didn't really miss a beat. He didn't do that much wrong. Out of possession, he was positionally aware, very good, very strong, blocking, sending people the wrong way, and man marking. In possession, he looks a threat. He's actually interested in going forward. And I know Sheffield United were famous for their overlapping fullbacks, but centre backs, sorry. But it was Llorente who was making those dynamic runs into the opposition half, and I just think that we've got a player there. I really do. special mention as well to Cooper, who gets stick all the time, and I thought Stroud was unlucky to lose his place because he played so well. But he, at the end of the day, Cooper's our club captain.
He is,
and he has, if Marcelo says he's impressed in training, then I'm gonna always agree with Marcelo and defer to his judgment. Yeah. He definitely knows a lot more about it than I do.
He does,
and I thought he played well.
He did.
Oh, okay, so is that it then?
Yes, all good.
Just enough time for some final thoughts.
Yeah, the last thought from me is, and I tweeted this after, when the substitution happened, first time all season, Robin Kopp, Diego Llorente, Rafinha, Rodrigo, even though it was only for 3 minutes, have all been on the pitch at the same time. That's absolutely amazing. Into the 30th league game of the season, 32nd game overall, if you include the Hull City and the Crawley games. That's incredible, isn't it? You've waited nearly 8 months to get 4 signings on the pitch at the same time. So, and it's nice to have the option to have a fully fit squad coming into the run into the business end of the season.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking actually towards the end of that game is, wow, we're looking really good. We're looking fit. We're looking on it.
Yeah.
We've got almost the entire squad back. Even Adam Forshaw, whisper it and touch all the wood that you've got, is back in training. Barney?
I think final thoughts to me is that we can actually, for us, we've been enjoying it for the last few games, but people are always wanting to get to that magic 40-point mark and say, right, we're safe now. But I think the final 8 games, we can actually really enjoy the games now, not thinking we're going to get relegated or sucked into a relegation battle. I think the next 3 games are going to be really interesting. I think we will get some results. I think against Man City, it's going to be a different game to when they played us at home. But in the post-match interview with Bielsa, he was saying, what he was saying, it feels like he wants more out of this team, and he's not settled. He's not settling for 10th. He wants to.
Yeah.
He says we've got 24 points left to go, so I think he wants more out of this team. So we've been waiting for this run, haven't we, for quite a while in this league. And possibly we could go on a bit of a run.
He's the kind of guy who doesn't rest. When we're 3 or 4-0 up, he's yelling at the players, and he always seems to want more.
Yes.
Okay, quickly then. Man City, Liverpool, Manchester United, Brighton, Spurs. That's the next 5 games. How many points? I'm going to put you both on the spot. How many points are we getting out of that?
7.
Okay.
I think we'll win at least 3 of them.
Woof! Who are we beating? Who are we beating, Barnes?
I think we'll beat Brighton.
Yep.
I think we will beat Scum. I think we will do it.
So.
I think we've got a point to prove, and I think Man United sort of showed us up a little bit in that game, and I don't think Bielsa would have enjoyed that game at all. So I think we'll beat them, and possibly Liverpool as well, because they're not the team that when we first played at the start of the season as well.
What about City?
For me, I don't want to say it's a free hit. Yeah. I think that is going to be such an enjoyable game to watch because Man City are absolutely phenomenal now since we played them.
Yeah,
and but the thing is, Pep will be scared of playing us as well because they're playing in between the Champions League games as well, aren't they?
Yeah,
and he said, he said as well, didn't he? He says this is the wrong time to play Leeds United.
This is the worst team to play, he said, in between those 2 Champions League. And that's some compliment, that is. And things had opened up here a little bit for that first game. And I went to the pub in my Square Ball Campiones T-shirt, which says Leeds about 50 times all over it. And I got asked, oh, mate, who do you support then? Quite a number of times. So thanks for that, Square Ball.
Good stuff.
But that game felt like, okay. I mean, I know the Liverpool game was good, but when we went toe-to-toe with City, I thought, different level. Okay. If you've enjoyed this match review, you can find us on Twitter at Peacock's Raw. or on YouTube if you're not watching us already. Hello. The Roaring Peacock LUFC fan channel. Nice branding. Yeah. If you've got any help with any suggestions for marketing, or you can get in touch with us. The roaringpeacock@gmail.com. We also got a website and a blog, which I'm very stretched for time to put anything on there. But if you want to have a look, we even had Rob Bagchi contribute a little piece on Peter Lorimer, which was fantastic, as well as Matthew Groger, who is our normal contributor. Okay, my name's Adonis, and you know me as @TheAdelites on Twitter, and it's a very goodbye from me. And joining us today was Stats @LUFC Stats.
It's a goodbye from me.
And Barney @Barney___21.
Come on, Leeds!
Come on! Come on, Leeds! Into him, fuck them up! Most of our stats come from LUFC Stats or LUFC Data on Twitter. A very special thanks to Barney Stewart, Cook Ewan and Howard Metcalf, Josh Pearson, Laura, Leon and Rob, The Light Show, and all our family and friends.
So many games to play, don't care what's on your mind.